Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we appreciate you hopping on to our live noon forecast this afternoon. Now, we've got some big headlines for you today, one of the biggest being that we are expecting storms, but it's going to be a few days until we actually get that. What we're really talking about today is that we have a roller coaster of temperatures. Now, temperatures yesterday, right, they plummeted. We are now on the climb up, and temperatures are warmer and warmer and warmer this afternoon than they were yesterday. We're going to be even warmer for tomorrow as well. So we're on this roller coaster, up and down as those temperatures keep us on our toes over the next week or two. We have another atmospheric river out on the west coast, and that's going to bring some flooding concerns to those across the western portion of California. We'll show that to you as well. And those others who don't have any rain are going to be in that fire danger for today. So we'll talk about the fire danger down in Texas and in Florida. And then we'll head into those weekend storms. So it does look like we'll stay dry at least through most of the work week, and then we'll have storms to return to the forecast by Saturday, Sunday, and maybe Monday. So one of those days looks a lot more active than what we're seeing right now. But before we go ahead and get into the forecast, I do want to thank all of our veterans today on this Veterans Day. We're taking a moment to honor all of those who have served and have fought for our country, so we appreciate that. We celebrate our veterans every single day here at HailTrace, so we always have 10% off discount, 10% off plans, 10% discount for all annual plans for veteran or veteran-owned companies. So we, of course, really appreciate all that you do, and we wanted to acknowledge that before we continue with the forecast. I'm also going to step out of the way here and show you something really cool that one of our clients did. So this is River City Roofing, that's out of Peoria, Illinois. They installed a giant American flag on top of a roof. So here's some measurements to really show you how massive this flag is. Zoomed out pictures here. It's about 150 feet long, 75 feet wide, absolutely gigantic here. You can actually see it from an airplane, so it's visible to anyone who flies into Peoria. But they didn't stop there. They are also giving away a roof completely free to honor a veteran. Now, this is their 8th year to do a roof giveaway. And we were actually in contact with River City this morning, and they said that they were working hard installing that roof this morning. We're glad that they have nice weather to do that because it is looking very sunny out in Peoria this afternoon. We have seen all of that snow. It is now moved out of Illinois. What we're seeing now are sunny conditions and temperatures warming as well. We're expecting actually to get above freezing today across most of the Midwest. So what we're watching for today are maybe a few little lingering showers, but for the most part, we're not watching for anything significant. Now, I do want to talk about 24-hour storm reports here. We didn't see anything for severe weather yesterday. It was just all of that snow. So there you go. This is what we're watching for today. This is your current conditions. Here's your radar. We've got this nice warm front that's moving through the central portion of the U.S. today. Now, ideally, this time of year, we would really appreciate a warm front because that would mean temperatures are going to be a lot more comfortable. But what this is going to do is this is going to bring a fire concern all the way through the central portion and western portion of Texas. So we're not really very appreciative of that warm front today because of that fire concern and extreme windy conditions that they're going to feel down there. Here's some leftover snow that we see moving through New England right now. Everything is warmed back up out in places like Illinois. So what you guys are getting are maybe a few sprinkles, but it's in the form of rain, not snow. Dry conditions down in the southeast, again, not our favorite thing to see because it does encourage those fire conditions to elevate. And then we've got the first few peaks of some more rainfall out on the western portion of California. And that's going to bring in, of course, that atmospheric river, all of that moisture, and potential flooding over the next few days. Temperatures, a lot nicer today than what we saw yesterday. 68 out in Denver, still really comfortable in Denver. 65 here in Oklahoma City. 53 in Kansas City, and we are just below freezing in Fort Wayne, Indiana. 31 degrees out there. So a lot of people are feeling those warmer conditions, maybe not needing the big coat for today. Few of us still have some snow on the ground, but I think most of that will be melting this afternoon. We've got some of the greatest snowfall totals have started to melt already. So we had about 6 inches of snow in places like South Bend, but that started to melt already. Some really impressive snowfall totals, about 12 inches in some places yesterday. And then, of course, in some of those upper elevations, we also had some really impressive snowfall totals. But again, we are warming up, so I'm not too worried about that sticking around. You guys can climb on roofs this afternoon and evening as long as those temperatures stay above freezing. Now, what about our future snowfall accumulations? Really nothing to write home about here. You could see a few more inches potentially across the Northeast and New England states, but other than that, we are going to stay dry. So dry for most of us. No significant hail expected for today. No severe weather expected today. However, we do have that fire weather outlook that we have to talk about. It's in that level 1, that elevated category, which includes Oklahoma City all the way into Dallas, Harper, Lubbock, Texas, and then we've got a few of our areas up in Colorado, Kansas, and even New Mexico included in that elevated risk. Now again, we talk about this every single year or multiple times a year. Don't throw your cigarette butts out the window, dispose of those properly. Don't let any chains hang down from your car. That could also spark a fire. You just make sure that you are being courteous of your neighbors because you don't want to be that spark that causes problems for everyone else. We've also got a fire concern out in the western side of Florida, which includes Tampa, Fort Myers, and the southern side of the state. So there's your fire concern for today. I don't see anything for tomorrow, but I do think that that will change because I do think that we're supposed to be still dry and pretty windy tomorrow as well. Here's a red flag warning that just tells us that we're going to be very, very windy in places like San Angelo and down in San Antonio as well. So if you're getting on roofs today, make sure that you hold on, make sure that those conditions are safe because it could be pretty windy up there. Make sure that you are taking your precautions for that. We've also got a red flag warning that includes Orlando, Tampa, and Fort Myers down in Florida. Let's go ahead and take a look at our severe outlook for today. Well, today looks like tomorrow, which looked like yesterday, which looks like Thursday. Not a ton of severe weather out there. Yes, we're kind of in the dead months of, or the dead first week of winter. It's technically fall, but it feels like winter. We've got a lot of snow, not a lot of severe weather. Now that is going to change. So as our temperatures go up and down, so will those chances for severe weather. So while we don't have anything significant right now, I do think that we'll be a lot more active this weekend. And all of that thanks to what's happening on the West Coast right now. Basically what's happening is we have a surge of moisture that's pulling in from the West Coast, and that's going to continue to track across the central portion of the U.S. as we head into the next few days. Now, it's going to take a while to actually get to central U.S., so we're talking about the plains here. I'm watching for Oklahoma and Texas for potential wet weather this weekend. Now, nothing is for sure yet. However, we are going to see a change in our pattern. We've got that warm air coming in. We've got that change in weather patterns where we have a low pressure system that's trying to set up somewhere in the plains. But again, we're so far out, we can't exactly determine where that's going to be. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Until then, we've got a few sprinkles coming into Cincinnati today. We've got a little bit of snow still continuing out in our New England states. There you go, all the way through New York, Pennsylvania, all getting some snow today as well. Not too worried about your accumulations in these areas, especially since temperatures are warming right about or slightly above freezing. Anything that falls should melt pretty quickly unless it's in the late night hours, then you could kind of deal with an ice issue, so just be aware of that as well. I'm not too worried about that, but something to keep an eye on, especially in those neighborhood side roads. That could be some of your biggest concerns. Taking you out to the Atlantic now, tropical cyclone activity is also not expected in the next 7 days. We are nearing the end of Atlantic hurricane season, which ends at the end of this month, November 30th. We've seen about an average season so far. So we've got about 14 named storms, which is about average for Atlantic hurricane season. I'm not expecting anything else for the rest of the season, but hey, we could be wrong. Something could spin up by the middle or maybe end of this month. I'm not too confident about that though. Let's go ahead and talk about our temperatures. Now we're on that climb up. You know, on the roller coaster where it's getting really intense, you're climbing and you're climbing and you're climbing and you're climbing. That's what's happening right now. Those temperatures are slowly warming and warming and warming. So we're above average today through most of the plains and all across the West Coast. Still holding on to those cooler temperatures out to the east. Everyone's going to feel that warm up tomorrow and on Thursday. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this warm weather could help with some of those chances for severe storms later on this week and into the weekend. We've got all of this warm weather. We're going to have a surge of moisture and a low pressure system, so we've got that lift that's moving in. So we'll have to keep an eye on this weekend for severe weather. Still too soon to tell, it's only Tuesday, but we'll keep an eye on it for you. And for temperatures, 60s tomorrow here in Oklahoma City, we'll take it. 58 in Denver, a little bit cooler for you guys out in Denver than what you saw today. We're staying above freezing all the way through the northern portion of the U.S., so we've got all the way through the Midwest. Temperatures are above freezing tomorrow afternoon, but through the overnight hours, you could dip just slightly below freezing, okay? So you could wake up to some of those really cool temperatures, but in the afternoon, it'll be a lot nicer. I do expect a lot of sunshine this week as well, so take advantage of this nice weather. Get outside, enjoy the outdoors, but also this is a great time to get some work done. So if you're climbing on roofs this week, make sure you have HailTrace. Maybe this is a good time to go back and rework some of those old storms that you may have missed this past spring. And there you go. There's your future radar. There's all of that moisture that's coming in from the west coast. It's very dry across the central portion of the U.S. I'm not expecting a ton of rain anywhere across the plains. I mean, sure, maybe a few sprinkles, but that's not very promising. As we head into the end of this week, here you go, Friday morning, we're going to be watching for a change in our, there you go. Ooh, there you go. Look at that low pressure system. It's out on the west coast. Here you go, Saturday, Sunday, we could get some snow in the upper elevations, anywhere from Denver all the way down to Durango, Colorado, and into the western portion of New Mexico. And there's your moisture as we get into Saturday and Sunday and even into Monday. We finally have some moisture moving back into the central portion of the U.S. And so that is what we're watching for right there. You guys want to see that one more time? Here's what we're watching for. You've got your moisture, you've got this low pressure system moving into places like Kansas, Oklahoma Panhandle, maybe Texas. It really just depends on where this sets up. And then we could see more wet weather, maybe some of this severe as we head into the later portion of the weekend and early next week. So that's really what we're watching for. Of course, we'll keep you updated on that. Until then, enjoy this nice weather. It is expected to warm up out there. We're expected to be above average in terms of temperatures from November 16th through the 20th, right in the middle of the month as you're preparing for Thanksgiving. Right before Thanksgiving, temperatures look pretty warm, and it does look like we're going to see above average rainfall as well, which gives me great hope for that fire weather. We hate to see fire weather. We hate to see critical fire conditions. So I'm glad to see that we'll get some form of rain in some of these areas that are often impacted most by that fire weather. So that's good to see as well. Hopefully we can keep that up. And there's your forecast today. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. I don't think that we have any weather questions. Nope, no weather questions today, but as always, DM us with your weather questions. Put it in the comments section of this live video as well. Until then, we'll be posting more on all of our social media pages, so follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, or give us a call for a wind, hail, or tornado map. As I mentioned earlier, these quiet times, this quiet weather is a great opportunity to get out and work some of those storms that maybe you missed back in the spring. So give us a call at 855-334-4245 for a wind, hail, or tornado map, or email us at info@hailtrace.com, or head over to our website, hailtrace.com. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here same time, same place for your forecast tomorrow.